Welcome everyone to the next installment of This Month in Microsoft Teams. My name is Tim Homan. I'm a project manager with Peters & Associates, and one of the areas I have been tasked with is to become the subject matter expert for Microsoft Teams. And that is a task that is a moving target because the Teams app is updated so frequently. So we created the This Month in Teams series to look at new functionality and features, and then I try to throw in tips and tricks where I can. So let's get started with Teams and see if we can do the next slide here. And Outlook. So first thing I want to start out with is why are we using GoToMeeting for a Teams presentation? And it's a lot of reasons. First one is when we started doing this, Teams really didn't have a webinar type of meeting that has been released. So they do have that option now, but we're already licensed for this platform, and it is difficult to demo Teams when you're using Teams. So I was actually doing some testing and had two meetings going with two different Teams clients, and when I quit one, it quit both. So it's yet to be determined if this is going to work to demo Teams. So that's why we do it with GoToMeeting. So agenda for today, I like to start all these with just a quick overview of Teams. In case this is your first time attending one of these, just give you a little background. And then we'll focus on how you can use Teams and Outlook together. And one of the things I do mention quite frequently is how Teams can be not a replacement for email, but it can reduce your email. And I'm going to show some ways to facilitate that. And then I will demo some of the things I talk about, and then we'll have time for questions at the end. So here's my introduction to Teams. It's a slide from Microsoft, but imagine a world where you can have your meetings, your chat, your phone calls, share files, co-author, collaborate. Like I said, not replace email, but reduce email. Built-in applications like to-do lists and dashboards, all in one application. So you can integrate your business processes. You can do things like Power Automate to automate tasks. Third-party apps, last time I checked, it was over 1,000. So it's probable that something you're using today, there's an app for that you can plug right into Teams. Again, keep people in that one app, make them more productive. Communication, collaboration, again, all in one location. So these are some of the things I'm actually going to highlight today, how your email and scheduling, because it comes from Outlook, there's real tight integration between Teams and Outlook. The file sharing, meetings. So again, you can create meetings in Teams or you can create them in Outlook. It's the same meeting. You can modify settings in Outlook or in Teams. Demo and show all that. Chat is really where people start with Teams. It is a much better option than texting people where you have no control over what's being sent or read or any of that. So Teams is definitely a better way to go for that. And it just helps you connect across your organization. So this is our implementation wheel, and our focus really with these workshops are the envisioning and readiness area. I do sessions on governance with Teams, adoption and planning, and then our implementation, we get engineers involved and they, turn all the knobs and click all the buttons to get you set up in a secure way. I do like to mention that a study was done. It was only like 200 organizations that are using Teams, but they found that 75% of them are sharing information that they didn't think they were. So that governance piece is very important for something like Teams. So why are we doing this series and why is Teams important? It's because it's such a popular product. So the pandemic drove a lot of this, but we've gone to 145 million daily active users. And where the statistic is different than Zoom is Zoom reports on meetings. So if you have 3 meetings in a day, they count you 3 times, and Microsoft counts you once. So it's apples and oranges, but I mean, it's a lot. So, 2017, there were 50,000 organizations using Teams. Now it's over 500,000, and 91 of the Fortune 100 companies use Teams. New features that I mentioned, I haven't updated this recently, but this just shows that, they're already projecting out features being released later in this year. So it's just crazy how quickly Teams is changing, and Teams 2.0 is coming. So with the release of Windows 11, they're going to rework Teams. And I know one of the things they've talked about is kind of rewriting it, not for functionality, but for performance. So I know some people have issues where their CPU gets pegged, and when they're streaming video and all those kinds of things. So I know that's one of the pieces that's going to be coming with 2.0. But we'll keep an eye on that and maybe have a future this month in Teams around Teams 2.0. So today our focus is on the integration of Teams and Outlook. I just like to throw this out. This isn't really intended to be training. It's just a high-level overview. Training is an option. I'm actually doing a session this afternoon for a company. First one I did for them, they had over 70 people on, and we spent an hour just kind of highlighting all the functionality that Teams has, and then focusing on chat and meetings, because that's really where they're going to start. So here's my list for today. So I'll talk about each one of these individually, but these are really the key pieces between Outlook and Teams. So all meetings online. And what this means is in Outlook, there's a setting that you can check, and it will add a Teams meeting to all of your meetings. If you're meeting with more than one person, it's not a bad idea to make it a Teams meeting. And this way you don't have to use the Teams button or remember. You just check this box, and in the demo, I'll show you where that's at. And then when you do a new meeting, the Teams information will automatically be populated in it. And you can also do this with Outlook Online. There's a different way to configure that one, but I'll show you that as well. Oh, there's my little circle. So because people still work a lot in their Outlook and in email, Teams now has the ability, there's a graphic here, to drag and drop attachments. So you got an email, let's say I have a team for an executive and their assistant, and I got an email with an invoice on it, and I want to drag it to my Teams site. I've got a folder for that. So I can just drag that attachment right out of the email and drop it right into that folder on my Teams site, and my assistant can find it and deal with it. So just trying to simplify the interaction between the two applications, drag and drop. So again, like I had mentioned, your meetings, tasks, and out of office messages all sync between Outlook and Teams. So on the left, I just grabbed a piece of my Outlook. It was just my calendar summary and to-do. And if you look, this reoccurring meeting that shows up here in Outlook also shows up here on my Teams calendar. And if I use the Task by Planner and To-Do app in Teams, you can see here's a couple of message generator change, right, this month in Teams. So the same task that I set up in Outlook will also show up in Teams. So the intent is to try to get you, spending more time in Teams. And that's where you can collaborate, and you'll be more productive if you're not constantly switching applications. And this is an interesting one. It's kind of a hack, but by creating a tab in a Teams site, and this is actually a web page, and it's outlook.office.com. And so now I can check my email in Teams. I don't have to leave Teams and go to Outlook. Everything is just contained within the Teams app. I thought that was pretty clever to encourage people, to get into Teams more, again, to foster that collaboration. So I'll show you how to set that up. And the nice thing about that is it's your email. So when you get to that page, it's going to prompt you to log in. And it's just a generic URL. It's just outlook.office.com. And so whoever clicks on that tab, it'll prompt them to log into their email. Kind of clever. So like the drag and drop, there's some new functionality that's been added to Teams and Outlook. So this is just an email message. Again, this is an invoice. If I wanted to share that to Teams, there's a couple options for that. So when I click this button, Share to Teams, I can put in a user's email address, and it will actually send them a chat message. It'll forward this as a chat message, or I could share this to a channel, a team in a channel, and it would do a post on that channel. So again, I got this important email, I want to share it with my team, or I'm going to share it with an individual that works mostly in Teams. I have that option. And similarly, within Teams, there's an option to share to Outlook. So this is just a message that was posted on a channel. It had a document that I wanted someone to review, so I could just go into that message, click the three dots, click share to Outlook, put their email address in, and now I've sent a Teams message to Outlook. So pretty cool. Meeting options. So meeting options are set globally by your administrator, but you have the option to modify those options. So one thing that is super annoying is the announce when callers join or leave. That training that I had done the other day with 70 people in it, especially for people that are just getting started with Teams, they don't always have the headphone and speaker set up, figured out, and so they often will join with their computer for the visual aspect and then dial in with their phone. And it announces every person that joins or leaves the meeting. So from Outlook, from your meeting, you can click on settings, and then you can get the meeting options, and then you can make these changes right here for the meeting. You can do it in Teams as well, but it's also there in Outlook. So if you are working in Teams and you have a team, I call them team sites, but a team that you work with, you can actually send an email to that whole group. And so part of my demo environment are our top 10 team sites. And so if I wanted to email number 8, which is sales and marketing, this is just a Outlook email. I just start typing the name of the team and it pulls it up. And actually, after you get that in the to box, if you click the plus, it'll show you all the individual members. And you could also schedule a meeting with a team. Again, this is a meeting invite, and it's to that same group. So now you're working in Teams, and you're scheduling your meetings in Teams, but you want that calendar to show up in Outlook. So if you go into Outlook and look at your calendars, if you scroll down, you'll see group calendars. And again, here's that sales and marketing calendar. So this is what it would look like in Outlook. And then this is that same calendar. I just created a channel calendar in Teams. All right. So that was my list. let's jump out of the presentation and we will demo some of this. So first thing I want to show is that setting. So if you go to your calendar, this is the easiest way to do this, and just right click anywhere in your calendar, you can go right to calendar options. And right here is that checkbox, add online meetings to all meetings. And so in my demo, it doesn't always work right, but if I did a new meeting, it would automatically add the Teams information down at the bottom. I'm using multiple people and multiple tenants, so mine doesn't work exactly right, but that's how that would work. Similarly, if I wanted to do that for my online, I could come in here to settings and then view all Outlook settings and then calendar, events and invitations, add online meetings to all meetings. So you check that box there. And so now if I went to my calendar, it's funny that it works in the online version, but doesn't work on my desktop version. And if I do a new event, and then you have to invite one person. And oh, there it is. So now the Teams meeting box is checked automatically. I didn't have to do anything. So discard. Drag and drop. Again, here's another thing that it's weird because of the way I log into multiple accounts that I cannot demo this with my demo Teams account, but this is my Peters and Associates account. But here's an attachment, this month in Teams. This is my script for what I demo, and I'm dragging it over to it. This is a channel and a tab, and if I let go, it's uploading one item, and it'll even pop up a little message, uploaded, and there it is. So drag right out of Outlook, dropped it off right into Teams. Okay. So one thing I think that's neat to show is how you can set your out of office. So this is my Teams client, just under general. If I scroll down to the bottom, if I do out of office, I can turn on automatic replies, whatever, working from home, however I want to configure that. And then if I save that, and then if I go back into Outlook, I'll be working from home. So I changed it in Teams and it updated it in Outlook. So it just shows that integration between Teams and Outlook. So if you're more comfortable working in Teams, stay in Teams, you can do everything you need to do. So if I go here, human resources, general, this one, email. And so here is it's asking me to log in because this is where I set up Outlook on the web. And now here it is. Here is my email, same email you saw in my Outlook client in the website. And all I had to do that was to add a tab, just happy this is working at all because I got a message from Comcast right before this started. That they were having internet issues. Wow. So outlook.office.com. And so now I'll have another tab up here, which says Outlook. And it already knows I'm logged in. So that easy, and just again, encouraging people to use Teams. So if we go back to here, let's say I wanted to just share this with someone. So I'm just going to open up this message, and here it is shared to Teams. And I'm going to send this to Grady because I'm logged in as him, and you'll be able to see it. This takes a little while because it's going out to Teams and it's looking at all the users and sites and all that stuff. So don't be surprised if it takes a minute for this to load. All right. All right. Grady. So by default, it had popped up a channel, a team site. So just sent that off. So if I come over here and click on chats, I don't know if it takes a minute for that to show up. We can come back and check on it in a minute. Yeah, we'll give it a minute. That's how you do it. Similarly, if I'm in Teams and I want to share something back to Outlook, so let me find the post here. Usability testing. So if I click on the three dots, share to Outlook, and I can do the same thing. And it doesn't have to be a member of that team. It can be anyone. And it's going to do the same thing. It's going to go pull up contacts. Good thing I only have a few more things on my list because we're all right. So two. Let's. What if I can send it to myself? No. We'll send it to Grady. He's not logged in. Let's do this as Grady. Same information. So here we go. Share to Outlook. So a couple more things to show. All right. I'm only logged in with Outlook with one user, so it's hard to. Super Tim, there we go. So now if I come back over to Outlook, there it is. So that quick. So that's that whole post and all the replies to it. So super cool. Oh yeah, let's do this. Let's do a new meeting. And then I'll show you where you can change those settings. So right here, meeting options. And you can also see these in Teams, but if you prefer to do your meetings from Outlook, it's really nice to have that ability. So I do not like it when people announce when they join or leave. Let's say I'm, again, like I did that the training, 70 people. I don't want them talking or I don't want their cameras on. I could turn both those options off. I could also disable chat or have the chat be in meeting only. The nice thing about the in meeting only is once the meeting's ended, um, that ends that chat thread. And I've had it before where I keep getting these messages pop up because it was a meeting I had a while ago, but somebody still had a question and they're replying in that chat for that meeting. So good options right there. And so now I just made the change. And if I send that, I should be able to go to Teams and see that meeting just for like 2 minutes from now. And so if I wanted to edit it, I could pull up those same meeting options here. What I find strange about this is that it pulls up a web page to the meeting options. It's not actually in Teams, but oh, again, because I'm logged in so many times, it gets confused. For most people, they don't have that problem. Let's just do a quick a new meeting, and I will invite a team. So if I do another demo 2, and let's say we do 8. So here's the sales and marketing team. And like I said, if I hit the plus, it's going to expand and it's going to show me all the members of that group. Okay, maybe not. Ooh, wow. Well, I've angered it. And let's see. Nope, I can't do anything. Well, maybe this is a good time to ask any questions. Oh, there it did it. So it just took that much time to pull up all the users. So that's everybody that is a member of that site. All right, I don't want to do that. And then the last thing I want to show is calendars. So right here, these are my calendars, but these are the group calendars down here. And here's that sales and marketing calendar. So again, if I go over to Teams, and I go to Teams, and then I go to sales and marketing, and here's the channel calendar. So if I minimize this a little bit, you can see that oh, you have to be in the general. So the calendar for the team is under the general channel. So there's that goals meeting. Here it is over here. So same calendar. All right. Those are all the things I had to demo. It's 11:31. Went a little bit over. Not bad. Questions? Again, what's coming up? Next week is This Month in Cyber with Bruce, and then in August we'll do another This Month in Teams. So that's all I had for today.